Possibly one of the biggest things to happen in constitutional law in the last 20 years may have happened this afternoon, and yet also possibly nothing happened. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, but I'm also going to have to do an insane amount of research tomorrow to come up with a more definitive answer. But let me at least tell you what I know so far. First of all, for those of you who don't know, I'm Brian. I make videos about law and civics. I don't know if we're still going to have TikTok for very long, so maybe check me out on the YT at BrianODC. But also here, check out my link tree, which is in my profile. Anyway, comment, like, share, all that stuff. Many, many, many years ago, Congress passed an amendment to the Constitution called the Equal Rights Amendment, which would guarantee equal treatment of men and women. For those of you who've been watching my videos about scrutiny over the last few days, differences between men and women are not even given strict scrutiny. They're given intermediate scrutiny. So they're not even treated that harshly. So this would make a really big difference if it were to pass. And it did pass. But once a constitutional amendment passes, then it has to be ratified by a certain number of states. And that number of states was not reached. So the original ERA had a 7-year requirement, had to be ratified within 7 years. 7 years passed, and then that was extended by 3 more years. 3 more years passed, wasn't ratified, and then it was finally ratified this past year, way outside of that 10-year requirement. Here's the thing, though, that year requirement wasn't in the body of the amendment. It was in the preamble. It was in the introduction. So it wasn't necessarily in the part that they were voting on. It was in the like, hey, we're going to present this amendment and it should be ratified in the next few years. Let's introduce this amendment. The amendment. So the question was, did that requirement actually apply or not? Because it wasn't really the part that they were voting on. So finally, the right number of people had ratified it, and people were like, okay. But something else needed to happen to like push it across the line. And nobody seemed to know what that thing was. And then today, President Biden came out and said, you know what? The ERA has been ratified. The ERA is the 28th Amendment.
Today, I affirm the Equal Rights Amendment to have cleared all the necessary hurdles to be added to the U.S. Constitution now. The Equal Rights Amendment is the law of the land now. It's the 28th Amendment to the Constitution now.
Well, is it? There is a step that needs to be taken before the ERA is officially part of the Constitution. And that step is that the head archivist or something, the person at the archives office, starts printing it in copies of the Constitution. If you get a copy of the Constitution, it comes with the 28th Amendment on it. But that person's not a lawmaker, they're nobody official, it's not a political position. And nobody's really sure who can order that person to start doing it. And Biden has said, yeah, it's the 28th Amendment now, but I am not going to order the archivist to do it, but it's the 28th Amendment now. And the archivist is like, what do I do? And people are like, is there another amendment? Nobody seems to know. So I don't have an answer, but this is fascinating. This is like some fun con law stuff. So I'm going to do a lot of reading tomorrow. I'm going to see what some of the arguments are, hash them out a little better, and I'll give you some of them. There's not going to be an answer. I'm not going to have an answer for you. I'm just going to have the arguments and let you hash them out, because that's all there's going to be for now until something actually happens. But this is kind of fun. Anyway, we might have another constitutional amendment, and it might just kind of appear. So, all right.